Okay, guys, welcome to the HertsHour Guest speaker slot. And today we have Leona Barr-Jones.
Hi, I'm Leona from Barr-Jones Associates, and we run Herts Business Growth. We've been business growth advisors in Hertfordshire, who we help with their business growth and support them with coaching and mentoring. So, good evening.
Thanks, Leona. We've got a few questions that have come in via Twitter. So we're wondering if you have got some top tips for what one thing should somebody do tomorrow to ensure longevity of their business?
Oh, now that's a very good question. What's the one thing you should do tomorrow? There are some people who would say you've got to make sure you have no choice but to succeed in your business. So if you've left a job or you've got something as a backup just in case, there's a big school of thought that would say, cut that out so that you are not having a plan B, and you will find that you will focus and dedicate your time and your effort to your business. So that's quite a radical view of how to make sure you have longevity in your business. Of course, the other way is to make sure you work on your business, not just in your business, and look at every opportunity to market and sell as much as possible, rather than just being surrounded by doing the business all the time. You've got to try and work on the business. So there's a couple of little tips there. Is just to concentrate and focus on what can only you do, and outsource the rest. That's what I'd recommend.
Sounds great. Just so everybody knows who's watching, Dawn and I occasionally look away from the screen because we're trying to send out messages while the event's happening, just so everybody can kind of pick up on any questions or anything like that. So, Dawn, is there another question?
There is. Somebody asked for what time management techniques do you know that you could pass on to them, please?
Yes, time management is a really interesting thing. People who set up in business, especially if they're set up on their own to start with or are sole traders, find it very, very difficult to manage their time, because all of a sudden you are director of everything and making everything happen. And really good tips are very simple tips, really. I would say allocate your time in small pockets of 15 minutes and only do what you focused on to do for those 15 minutes. Things like emails, don't get distracted by your emails, only answer your emails twice a day, I would say. And just use those 15 minutes pockets to focus on, and don't be distracted by anything else. And if you need to close your door and put a do not disturb sign on, then absolutely do that. Another really good trick for time management for business owners is to allocate yourself 90 minutes at the beginning of the day, and absolutely get in there early, do your 90 minutes. And a lot of big entrepreneurs do this. I know that Richard Branson does, I know Nigel Bottrell does. A lot of people do their 90 minutes at the beginning of the day, where they completely focus on what will grow their business. So we're talking about their marketing, getting their sales right, looking at their products, getting their pricing right. So focusing back to, again, on the business, not in the business. So allocation of time, don't get distracted by your emails, and give yourself 90 minutes at the beginning of the day. And that'll start you off with time management.
Great.
Thanks very much. Another question was somebody who's new, thinking about starting up their business. What would you recommend they do? Where do they start, I think?
Well, the first thing to start with a startup is to have a really good look at what you're going to do. You've got the opportunity to completely choose which direction you want to go in with your business. And I would say the number one important thing on startup is to really know your numbers. What I mean by that is understand exactly what your outgoings are going to be, what your overheads are going to be, and then get a clear idea of what your expenses are going to be for every step of the way, and write a budget down. Have a very clear idea of your numbers. Work out how many customers you need to get the income that you require. And that's a really, really good start. And you'll be surprised, a lot of business owners, even well-established business owners, don't actually understand their numbers. And if you know it down to the detail, you will be able to understand how many customers each year, each month, each week, and actually even to the day, how many you need. And not just customers, you then need to work on your pipeline. So how many people do you need to go and talk to? How many leads do you need to have? And know your conversion rate to get those to become customers. And then work that backwards. How many people do you need in your pipeline as potential customers to get those interviews or those appointments to become leads to then become customers? So you've really got to know your numbers. That's the very first thing that I would do, actually, is get to know your thing. I would do is to start to grow your database and start to grow your list. So you've got a list of who your potential customers. Really know what your exit plan is going to be, and that links back to your customers and, of course, knowing your numbers.
And with that, Leona, have you got any tips on how you might price up jobs and the work you do for customers?
Yeah, pricing is very interesting, actually, because obviously there's lots of different businesses who have lots of different pricing categories that they've got to go into. Some people charge by the hour, some people by the day, some people by the job. Now, if you as an individual charge by the hour, whether you're in sort of providing utilities or a tradesman or a service, then you are going to be completely limited to that set amount of hours that you have in the week that you're prepared to work to have your income. So I would recommend that you start to build into your packages pricing not just by the hour, but to include a package which has additional services. And every business can think of that. Just think what the added value is that isn't necessarily tied to your hourly rate. And then if you're pricing to customers for products, don't be afraid your prices up. Don't be afraid to bundle things together to make a good deal for your customers. And it's a great tip, is think that your favourite granny, your favourite little nan, has got £100,000 to spend on your service and wants to pay you for your service. And you don't want to rip her off, you want to give her the best gold-plated service ever that you could possibly do with your business. So what would that gold-plated service look like? And then price it. And that's a really good way to start having a VIP platinum package.
Excellent.
Which brings me on to my next point, is when you're pricing, sorry Toby, when you're pricing, is to have different levels of pricing for your products as well. So you've got, always think of a VIP, a gold or a silver, because 9 times out of 10, people will go for the middle option. Hope that helps.
No, that's great. Dawn, is there any other messages on the Twitter there?
Let me just refresh. Gosh, we're almost at like 15 minutes. There was one about not confused where to start with marketing. You're a hit, Leona.
So marketing is a really interesting question, and the best place to start is to start to look at your unique selling proposition. And for that, you need to really understand you and your business. And I would recommend you sit down and look at your vision and your mission and your goals on what can you offer. And then look at what your customer really wants. Really identify your market and get down to the detail with your market. And we talk about finding out who the individual is going to be that you're going to sell to, what do they look like, where do they go, what do they read, what's their name, what cars. Really get to the detail with every one of your customers that you could possibly identify. And the third piece of the Venn diagram, if you will, that people quite often miss out is analysing the competition and understand what they do really well. For instance, if you've got a competition that is really good at doing next day service and does it for free because they're a big organisation and you can't possibly afford to do that, then don't do it. Don't compete with your competition on something that they're really good at. Maybe look at giving that personal service or giving them that extra little bit. Remember what I said about giving your nan the most perfect platinum service you possibly could do. And so I would say start with marketing by identifying those 3 things, and that will help you see your unique selling point. And that's a really, really good start point.
Right. Good. Wow.
That's 15 minutes flew by. Thank you.
Thanks, Leona.
You're very welcome.
Really great points there. What we're going to do, that's going on our YouTube channel, and we'll write up some of the notes for the description, and then people can watch that back and if you haven't made notes already, then I suggest you do. Go on.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you, Leona. I really appreciate your time. We've tweeted a lot, so we'll hopefully see you on HertsHour. We've got 15 minutes left.
I'll go back on HertsHour then. Lovely to speak to you both.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.